The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Breaking Bread Village. We are back again. Thank you all who watched earlier when we talked to Carrie about her journey through kind of her darkness into light. So today we have James with us now to talk about his story a bit too. So I'm going to bring him on now. Hey, James.
Hey, how you doing?
I am well. I just wanted to first start off by saying thank you so much for trusting this space with sharing your story. It's really important that you feel, safe to share. So I appreciate you for feeling that and deciding to come on here today. So thanks for that.
No problem at all.
Yeah, and I really want to, first of all, start off by saying I truly commend you for doing this. I have reached out to so many, especially men, for years to talk about this story because I think it's so important, for men, boys to feel safe to talk about things. Because I think that a lot of times you all are taught that you're not supposed to, feel, or you're not supposed to go through anything, or you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to hurt. You have to just be tough. So being able to share these stories is so important to me, and I think that it's healthy for you all as well. So that's why I wanted to share this space with you. So I'm going to let you kind of get started telling your story, and I do want to just kind of preface it with this too, that, this may be sensitive for some people, the topic. We will be talking a little bit about, abuse and that dark path in regards to that, but also how James found his way to freedom. So I'm going to let you, James, kind of get started and just start wherever you feel comfortable.
Well, I think if I'm going to start off by introducing myself. I'm James Steed, 22 years old. Just a typical guy, surviving in the world. But my story starts basically since I was born. I was just born into a rough situation, like into poverty. You go outside, you see people, you hear gunshots. So just typical hood in America. So around the time I was about 2 or 3, I ended up getting to the foster care system. So I didn't stay with either of my parents, and I ended up getting adopted by one family, and it was just pretty much abuse since the time I got in there. Like, not just physical abuse, but like mental abuse, like calling us out of our names, making us eat soap, like all types of craziness, like whooping us with switches. So we had ended up getting out of that situation by talking to our caseworker and basically telling her what was going on. So a couple months after that, we ended up getting taken with my aunt. And it was all right in the beginning, there was ups and downs, not all bad, but.
So you were adopted by your James. Go ahead and try to pick up your phone for me and see if that helps. It's a little bit of static there, which makes it kind of hard to hear you. So you said at that time you were adopted by your aunt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, I was adopted by my aunt, and then she had a really bad gambling addiction. So whenever she would want to go to the boat, she would have like her granddaughter watch us. And just from that time period on, it was just abuse. Like whenever my aunt would leave, she would pop in these porn DVDs that was underneath there's a TV right up here, and then like under there you got a DVD player and a bunch of CDs and movies. And my uncle had a bunch of porn videos that he used to hide under there. And her granddaughter knew what they was, and it started off with her just making us watch those videos, and we would just start off by watching those. It didn't really amount to anything sexual between me and her, but then.
So I'm sorry, you were breaking up a little bit. So she would just put the videos in. It's a little bit of feedback there. from your phone. So she would put the videos in, and you guys were forced to watch them. Just as you were just kind of playing or whatever. She didn't make you like really watch them, but she would just have them playing in the background. Is that what happened?
You know, it was just like a sit down, watch this type of
Okay.
thing. Like, you're gonna sit down and you watch this, and then like as a kid, you just watching it. You don't really know, like you just going on. You don't really know what's going on. You're just watching and just doing what you're told because you don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
So as time went on, I don't know if it was like weeks or months because it was just such a long time ago, but I just remember in one night, her coming into my room, no pants on, just a big t-shirt and be as blunt and just telling me that I needed to eat her out, basically. And she basically coached me on how to do it. Because I remember.
So basically, you're saying give her oral sex.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
She literally coached me. Like I remember her vividly coaching me. Like, you ain't doing it right. You need to go right here. And like, it was crazy. And for years that went on. And then it was a time like with me and my older sister, and I'd have seen like abuse between her and her, making her do the same thing she made me do. And between other sisters and cousins, it was just like she had her own little show. Like she had her own little setup, and nobody said nothing. Like,
because she was your babysitter.
Mm-hmm. Also, my older cousin.
Right. So were there times where you felt as a child that something wasn't right, and did you ever threaten to like tell? Did she use her power to kind of scare you into not saying anything?
Well, for me, I always felt like it was wrong. Like you feel it, like you know that it's not right. But when something like that happens so often, you begin to think that it's normal. Like if this happens between all of us and the other kids, like this everybody's doing it. So like, you know, as a kid, you just kind of just like, well, I can't say as a kid, but just in my situation, I just went along with it. Just like went along with life. Just went along with it.
So at what point did you start, or did she start to stop? So you said this went on for several years.
Yeah, it went on for several years. She began to stop around the time, I want to say, she started messing with this guy. I think I was about 10 at the time. It was she started messing with this guy, and he had moved in. So like, and they stayed in the same room together. That's around the time it stopped.
So basically, she found she had someone else to kind of.
Yeah, a grown man.
Wow. So I mean, did you ever feel like you had to protect your sisters or your cousins that she was doing that too?
Well, this is deep, and this is going to be kind of hard to say because I really only talked to one person about this, and it's my dad. I really didn't even know how much it affected me until I talked to him about it. But like the abuse got so bad that like I actually started to like her, like not like you know like I started to like think that like we had a future of like being in love. Like I used to fantasize about like futures of where we would be together, and like I actually started to catch feelings for her. Like it wasn't just like I started to basically fall in love with my abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, and that doesn't sound funny or sound bad. I mean, you were so young, you know, and you started to see it as a relationship almost when really it was an unhealthy one. But I don't think that or that's not something that can happen, you know. Wow. So at what point did she? So you said she was with the guy. She stopped. So did you still live in the home when she was with this gentleman?
Yeah, I still live there. Yeah.
Okay. Did she ever try to do anything else to you ever again, or did she ever threaten you after that, or how did your relationship go then? Once, if you kind of had feelings for her, you know, because of the way she manipulated it, how did you interact with her and him? Did you have like a jealousy? Was it like a animosity?
Well, for me, it wasn't really a jealousy or animosity because honestly, I was just happy that it was over. So that she wasn't doing anything with me anymore. So I pretty much just tried to get on and be as normal as I could. But it even affected me to the point where like I was like antisocial. Like I really didn't go outside. I really didn't like make friends. Like I would just sit in the house watch TV, play video games, play with toys. Like I was playing with toys I think till I was 14 years old. It's like I've never really felt like I was a child, you know. So
Yeah.
it took me a long time to this day I still watch cartoons. Like to this day I can still watch, you know what I'm saying, shows that I watched from my childhood because it puts me in a good spot, like, you know, into a time where I felt like I actually was happy, you know. It's
Oh
weird.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
No, that makes perfect sense. A lot of us will go back to moments in our life that we found comfort um, and found some joy in. So no, that's not strange at all. So basically, you're saying it kind of made you like an introvert.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly
Did
what it
it
made me.
did it affect the way you interacted with other women?
Yeah, like when I was younger, I could never, like, for the life of me, get along with any like female unless they were like family. Like when it came to school, when it came to like work environments, like I never really could get along with women like on any type of level. And when I got older, like when I started to like women and started to like see women as attractive, it was like I didn't really know how to approach women. I didn't really know how to speak with women because it was just like for a long time I was just like I just really shied away from women totally, like period.
Well, yeah, because you were never taught how to, excuse me, have a healthy relationship with a woman. Sorry, excuse me. Um, so how where are you at now with this? Because really, essentially, you kind of kept this to yourself for years, right? I mean, you just suddenly kind of talked about this, right?
Hmm.
So
Well,
how did you? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, finish your question.
Well, how did you? I guess kind of come to the point where you wanted to share, after keeping it so long. What made you decide to share your story?
Well, I have a little cousin who she ended up taking in because her mom is on drugs. So she ended up getting and she has a son of her own too.
So
And
she meaning your abuser.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She ended up getting my little cousin and she had a son of her own. And recently it was a series of her being hotlined like repeatedly. And and the family was saying that it was the girl that my little cousin that she took into her home. And that was one of the reasons I was thinking, I'm like, why would she be hotlining her? Like, and me knowing what happened in my mind, like what I went through, I was thinking like, could she be going through that same thing? That was one of the big reasons why, really the main reason. I was like, what if she was going through what I was going through? And and she's the one who really did hotline her, then something's going on multiple times at that. So I just felt
Right.
it was a time. It was time.
So you felt you decided to say it, which I think a lot of people in those situations do it when they feel like is somebody else being impacted now. Sometimes I think we kind of take things on our own and we'll go and kind of deal with it and kind of suffer through it. But when we see someone else that we understand is vulnerable and can't fight for themselves, just like we couldn't fight for ourselves, so to speak, then that's when we speak up. So you spoke up now. How is your family responding to that?
Well, I haven't spoken to a lot of my family members, but I spoke to her brother, and he basically told me, he called me and was like, I need you to delete that because with the situation going on with her kids, you're not going to make it any better for her to get her kids back. And my thing was trying to explain to him, I was like, I understand where you're coming from, but if those kids are being hurt in that situation, then maybe they don't need to go back there. Maybe they need to be somewhere else where they won't have to go through what I went through. And he was basically telling me like he's been there. He know it's not nothing sexual, but
So he
for
doesn't
her
he
to go get
doesn't believe
injected,
you.
he says that he believes me. He just don't believe what that she's putting those kids that she has now what we've been through. That's what
Okay.
he's saying.
Okay.
And my thing was, I'm going to delete this because if I was going to delete it, I was going to delete it because I wanted to. I wasn't going to do it because somebody else called me and threatened me to delete it. And after he found out I wanted to delete it, he basically blocked me on Facebook and told me that like we weren't family no more, and I betrayed him. I betrayed our family and all of this nonsense. But
Wow.
other than that, I haven't really talked to other family members about it besides like my mom and my dad. My dad actually didn't even know about it because like I didn't live with my dad. I lived with my aunt, so that was his first time hearing about it too. And we actually got.
I just want to preface it with this that so people understand you kind of let the world know by making a Facebook post, right? By saying, listen, I want to talk about what happened to me to help other people. So that's what you're talking about when you say that, her brother said, take it down.
Yeah, the Facebook post. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So is there anybody else in the family that's not speaking to you now because of that? And how do you feel about that, not having him, speak to you or say that you betrayed the family? How do you feel about that?
Well, honestly, I wasn't really too big on the family concept because my family has just been so dysfunctional, like since I've been born. So
yeah,
family, I love my family, but it's just like I was never like one of those persons that felt like I needed that validation from a family member or someone else to be happy. So like it was just like, well, okay, well, at the end of the day, your sister abused me. So if you feel like I betrayed you, the person who betrayed me was my cousin, which was your sister.
right.
She betrayed me. So that's the person that you need to be angry at, bro. All I did was tell everybody what happened. You worried about the image, her image, and all this other stuff that like that don't even matter right now, bro.
Right. Which happens so often, within our families where it's interesting how we will sort of sacrifice the children. And this is just me saying it, sacrifice the children to protect the family image, right? Where we just kind of say, you know what, we know something's kind of happening, but we don't want people to think our family is this way. So we're going to, basically sacrifice the children or whoever else is going through it to protect the family name, which is so disheartening. It's just, I don't know, it just makes me really sad when I think about it for children who go through that. And I think about what you're saying about with your life, going through the foster system, being abused when you're in the foster system, then you get adopted into your family unit, and then you still get abused, and then the very person that's abusing you is your caregiver, so to speak, and your babysitter. So she kind of has a power over you. So I mean, she's a person that I'm sure could whoop you, could discipline you. So that whole dynamic is there in regards to you feeling like you could even say anything, because I mean, she's the person that kind of was the person disciplining you at the same time, right?
Yes, ma'am. 100%.
So where are you at now with this? Like, you just kind of let it out to the family. You just kind of let it out to the world, basically. Where are you at with this now?
Well, I'm at a point now where I just want to move past it and continue with my life. Move on. Don't let it really like have a hold on me. Cause like I came to a point where I feel like, man, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to, what I'm saying, go out and experience things, because I still haven't really went out and ventured into the world like I wanted to. So I'm just really trying to move on from it and just be the best man that I can be, basically.
If there was anything that a perfect way that you would like for your family to embrace you right now, what would that look like? What would you like to see from your family if you could have it your way?
If I could have it my way, I would actually just want to sit down and talk to them, because for me, from my heart, it ain't no hatred. This isn't about hatred for me, which they probably perceive it as. It isn't about a hate thing. Honestly, I just want to sit down and just talk to everybody, because I feel like I was that one person in my family who pretty much got along with everybody. So, and especially my aunt who I was in, which is her grandmother. I feel like she, of all people, deep down in her heart, she knows that if I said it, then it's true, because
Yeah.
she raised me since I was a little boy, and she knows what my heart really is, and she knows who I really am as a person. So I would just want to sit down and talk with them, and I would like to see her get some help, honestly.
Oh yeah. Have you sought any counseling from what you endured?
I haven't actually, but after talking with my dad and breaking down like that, I definitely think that I should get some, because I really didn't know it affected me like that until I talked to my dad. dad with it, because like after telling him like that, I actually started to catch feelings for her and stuff like that. Like it broke me down to even speak those words. Like wow, like because I haven't even talked to anybody about that. That was my first time even saying it, and
Wow.
like but it was just hard to get those words out.
Yeah, and and there's no shame there. There's no shame. There's no shame. And going to talk to somebody, there's no shame in that either. And I think that's also something that's been made to have a bit of a stigma attached to it for especially men. And especially in the Black community, to seek counseling. If you need to talk to somebody in regards to what happened to you, I think that's I mean, it can't do anything but help, and it's healthy. How is your relationship with your grandmother right now? Well, not your grandmother, your aunt, the one that adopted you
Well,
after this happened.
I haven't talked to her since this incident, but I've seen her about 2 or 3 months ago because her brother, my uncle, had died, and we went to his funeral, and we were in a good spot. Like me and her always had a pretty good relationship because she never had a son, so I felt like when she got me, that was the closest thing she ever had to a son.
Sure.
She had a grandson, but they didn't really have the best relationship. And she like every time she see me, is always love, and she was like, "That's my boy. I love my boy." She always told me how proud of me she was, but I don't know how she's feeling now. But we were in a good spot before this situation had happened.
So, do you think you'll reach out to her anytime soon to kind of see?
Honestly, I don't know because I just don't. Honestly, I don't want to deal with it because I can see like the drama coming in. Because growing up in that household, even though me and her was good, there was always like a favoritism aspect to it because like they live with us. Like my cousin, her mom, they lost their place and they came to live with us a couple of times. So it was even to the point where I was living with my abuser, like the same household.
Oh wow! So you had to see her like all the time.
every day, and she would just
Wow.
act like nothing happened.
So and your sister lived there too, and the other person that she abused lived there as well.
Mm-hmm. We all lived. It was like a household of like. It was like 3 different families. It was like my cousins' kids in there because they was in the foster care system too for similar reasons that I was.
Yeah.
And then it was my mom's 5 kids, and then it was my aunt's daughter kids, which was my abuser's mom and all of her siblings. So it was about 12 kids, 12, 13 kids in the house.
Wow. Which is very typical of a lot of families, that have different generations and different family units all in one household. So just kind of tell us where you are right now in regards to healing, just personally, and just speaking your truth and feeling kind of free. You have to feel a bit of freedom with letting this out finally, because that's a big thing to kind of keep to yourself for so long, right?
Yeah. The feeling I got when I finally made that post and seeing everybody and the support that I got from it, it was just an amazing feeling because it was just crazy how many people reached out to me and told me like they went through similar situations, and it was just crazy. And it was like I motivated them to come out and tell their story. And if I do that, then I feel like I reached my purpose of what I was supposed to do with telling that story. So it's been a good experience. And I feel great. I'm in a good spot. I'm not depressed or anything. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, I'm not like cuddled up and in my bed and can't get up. I feel great. I feel amazing, and I'm just living life.
Well, I mean, you have to, and I'm happy for you with that. I mean, you have to feel a bit of freedom with that. I mean, like a
Yeah,
low lifted. What'd you say?
I say definitely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to let go of such a heavy thing, and it is sad that within our family units, they make us feel bad or feel shame for saying what we went through. But you have a story to tell, and like you said, being able to help just one person, if one person feels inspired to tell their story, or even to possibly get help getting out of a situation that they're in right now. And abuse comes in all different forms, not just sexual abuse, but we have physical, we have mental, emotional, all of that, financial abuse. so I just wanted to touch on this as a man, because that's one thing that's always been a passion of mine is, helping for men and boys to feel free to express. Did you feel any stigma about that? Did you feel bad that something like that happened to you? Because sometimes people have this narrative that, you're a man, you shouldn't, how is somebody doing that to you? Or sometimes I've seen situations where young boys are in those situations and people are like, yeah, man, like it's a good thing to have that happen at such a young age. I mean, do you agree with that?
I definitely don't agree with that. But I had people tell me like, man, you were supposed to like that. Like, I'm like, bro, I was a kid, bro. I wanted to watch cartoons. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had people tell me that I was gay because I didn't like it. I had all types of nonsense told to me.
Wow.
But it's the internet, so you know how they do over the internet. So
oh
I don't
yeah
really get too high or too low about comments made over the internet. But it was crazy. It's definitely crazy.
Yeah, because that's rape and that's abuse, and nobody should have to deal with that, especially when somebody that's in power over them kind of forces them to do that because of the dynamics of the relationship. Well, is there anything else that you like to share in regards to your journey, or as inspiration to other, especially men or young men that may be experiencing this?
Oh yeah, definitely. If there's any young men watching this and you've been to a similar situation, man, speak the truth. Don't let nobody tell you that you weak or that you ain't a man for telling what happened to you, man, because it's not right. At the same, like, you're a kid, man. You were a kid. You were supposed to do kid things and enjoy your childhood. Like, things like that destroy childhoods and creates a cycle for some people where they become rapists or where they start doing the same thing to kids. Like with the situation with R. Kelly, he got molested by his older sister. Like,
We'll say allegedly. We'll say
right,
allegedly. Yes, but yes.
Watching that made me wanna say something too. By the way, like when I was watching that and just seeing what R. Kelly went through, it was like, wow, like literally watching that and just thinking in my mind, like I've been through all of that, but it's just crazy.
And that's the craziness of it and the beauty of it, that people can decide which way to go, right? When we have different things that impact us, in life, we can decide to repeat the cycle, or we can decide to end it, right? And it sounds like you're deciding to end it and speak up about it. So I applaud you. On that.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for those words for other people. Yes, if someone else is going through that, speak up. Tell someone that you trust. If it's a teacher, aunt, the little lady that helps you across the street, whoever it is that you feel comfortable with sharing those stories with, please do. Well, James, I appreciate you for your time. Thank you for sharing this story. I really applaud it, and I really, again, appreciate you trusting this space to share your story, because I think it's necessary, and I think it helps other people that could possibly be going through the same thing to also share their story. And even if it's not a story of abuse for other people, but just for some men to know that it's okay to be vulnerable, right? And it's okay to open up and express is so important. And, the more that we share these spaces and these stories and have these conversations, they're able to feel at ease and comfortable doing the same thing. So I thank you so much, James, for doing this today and coming and sharing this story. And I wish you the best. And I hope that you continue to find healing, to find strength in this.
I appreciate it. No problem. Anytime. If you ever need me to come back on and just talk about anything, but I'll be happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, James. You have a great evening.
You too. Appreciate you.
No problem. Bye-bye. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I really thank James again for sharing his story. Short and sweet and to the point. He told his story of what happened. To be so young, to be so vulnerable, and to have someone that's placed over you in a position of power, to take that innocence and to take that and manipulate it and abuse and it's just disheartening. So many of our children go through that. So many of our children go through that more than we um, know at times, especially, our boys. Sometimes we're always so quick to protect our girls and say, oh, let's not have her around him. Let's not. But our boys are going through some of that same stuff, and we have to protect them just as hard and be just as aware, and just present when it comes to our children and ask those questions. I used to ask mine all the time. When they came back from certain places, I asked questions all the time to help them understand that I did care, I was paying attention, and that they were safe to tell me if anything was happening. So we have to not be afraid to have these conversations with our children to make sure so they feel comfortable and feel safe opening up to us is so important. And I really appreciate James for coming on today because, as I said, I've talked to plenty of women in regards to their sexual abuse and the violence that happened as they grew up. And I would always reach out to different people in regards to men to share their story. And it's such a stigma that they were so afraid of what people would say in regards to their abuse and their journey. So I applaud him for being brave and coming on and sharing that story. And I thank you guys for watching today. This has been a night of healing, and I hope that you guys got something out of it. And if nothing else, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be you. It's okay to go through what you're going through. We all have something. And whoever tells you they don't, they lying. We all have something that we are journeying through. And it's just so nice when you have somebody alongside with you to journey with you. So thank you so much for journeying with me here at the Breaking Bread Village. I really appreciate you. And I thank you. And I wish you peace and light. And I wish you joy. And understand. And I just ask that we all just show each other a little grace as we go along our way. Thank you so much. Have a great night.